So in this video today, I'm going to go over the Mach 3 talk and the Quiz 4 talk, okay? So first of all, this first question says identify the correct transformation that maps circle B to circle A. 69% of y'all got this right. So we're going from circle B, so we're starting here, and we're going to circle A, okay? So circle B to circle A. So we went translation by the vector. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. That's -5. And 1, 2 down. That's -2. Okay? And then if you look at the radius here, the original radius was 2. The ending radius is 1. So you should be able to see that you always put the end over the beginning, so that's 1/2. So that's why the scale factor was 1/2, okay? The next one says find the measure of angle XYZ. XYZ is this angle right here. So we're going to do the outside arc minus the inside arc divided by 2. That's going to equal our angle, okay? That's our formula. Well, the challenge is we don't have the outside arc. So to get that outside arc, that would be this right here. We're going to subtract the 112. So we're going to do 360 minus 112. 248, and so I'm going to put that out here, 248, right? So now we're going to do the 248 minus the 112 and then divide that by 2. So when we when we subtract 112 from 248, we get 136, and then when we divide 136 by 2, we get 68 degrees. And that's why our answer was 68, okay? So next one says find the arc length, or the length of the arc. Okay, so we're looking for this right here. So this is the equation. Length is equal to 2 pi r theta over 360. And our theta is the 150, and our radius is equal to the 22. So we're just going to plug this in here. 2 times pi times 22 times 150, and we're going to divide all that by 360, and when we do that we get 57.6 kilometers. So this is one of those ones we got to be careful because we actually did multiply by pi here because there is no pi in our answers, okay? Number 4 says given the central angle of the shaded region is 75 degrees. So the shaded region is 75 degrees here, and the diameter of the circle is 8 inches. Well, we don't use diameter, right? So we're going to take this by divide by 2, so our radius is going to be equal to 4. So this formula is for the area of a sector is pi r squared theta divided by 360. And it says we're looking for the unshaded area. So to find it, we're going to do out here 360 minus the 75. And when we do that, we get 285. So this area out here is 285 degrees. So when we plug this stuff into the formula, we are going to leave pi in our answer this time. So this is going to be 8 squared times theta, which is 285. We're going to divide all that by 360, and we're leaving pi in our problem. So that's how we got 38 pi over 3. So this next one says the tangent to circle A at point B, find DC. So we're looking for this length right here. And I would hope that you know that all radii are the same. So if this is 33, then this right here is 33, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You should know that where a radius and a tangent intersect is a right angle. So we're going to make this side A, we're going to make this side B, because we know that whole side over there has got to be C, right? So we're going to do 33 squared plus 56 squared. When we do that, that gives us 4,225, and that's going to be equal to AC squared, right? So we're going to take the square root of that, and when we do, we get 65. So AC is equal to 65. Well, it didn't ask me for AC, did it? It asked me for the blue part. So what are we going to do with 65? We're going to subtract the 33 from it, and when we do that, we get 32. So that means DC is equal to 32, okay? All right, on this next one, it says the measure of QRS. Angle QRS is 43, and it's labeled 43. Find arc RTS. So we're actually looking for this arc right here, this whole big arc out here. So there's two ways we could find it. We could do 43 times 2, and that would mean that this arc out here is 86, which means we would subtract that from 360. 360 minus 86 to get the other arc. And when I do that, I get 274, right? That would be one way to do it. Another way would be to understand that we see a straight line here. And so that's 180 minus 43. So that would have been one. That means this angle right here would have been 137 degrees. And the arc is 2 times that. So either way, you get 274 no matter which way you do it. This one says the cylinder has a volume of 200 pi centimeters cubed and a height of 8 centimeters. What's the diameter? So this formula is volume is equal to pi r squared h, right? We're given the volume, so that's 200 pi, and that's equal to the radius squared times the height, which would be 8, right? Times pi. Sorry, pi. Yeah, let me do that again. Pi r squared h, right? So I'm going to put my pi over here. Pi times r squared times r 8, right? So what do you notice on both sides? Pi, right? So it's going to cancel out. Then we're going to divide both sides by 8. And when I divide 200 by 8, I get 25, right? So r squared is equal to 25. So then we're going to take square root of both sides. So r is equal to 5, but that's not the question that I was being asked. I was being asked what's the diameter. So the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius, so this is going to be 2 times 5, which means our answer was 10. Okay? Only 58% of you got this right, and I'm assuming it's because you weren't paying attention to the actual question that was being asked and probably answered radius instead of diameter. So number 8 says, find the volume of the composite. The solid below is a square prism with a cylinder cut out. So if it's a square prism, it means we're going to do length times width times height, right? So that's going to be 48 times 48 times 18. So when I do that, I get 41,472, okay? Then we're going to find the cylinder, okay? So the cylinder is going to be pi r squared h, right? So this is going to be pi times, now we don't have r right now, do we? We have this 9, okay? So we're going to divide that by 2, so that's going to be 4.5, right? So we're going to do 4.5 squared times our height, and what's our height? It's the same as this. These heights are the same, right? So this is going to be times 18. So we're going to do 4.5 squared times 18 times pi, and that's going to give us 1,145, and I got 0.1, okay? So we're going to subtract that, this right here, from the 41,000. 14, wait, whoa. I did something wrong. Hold on, y'all. Pause. It's on to change these answers when I did this one, so I'm going to go back and look on the test, but I'm pretty sure that the answer was 40,426.9, and that would have been centimeters cubed, okay? So then this says identify the cross-section of a 3D shape pentagonal prism when cut perpendicular to the base. So if it's perpendicular to the base, it means we're cutting it this way, right? Perpendicular. So what is this face shape right here? Because that's what we're looking at. It's a rectangle, right? So base is when we do parallel with the base, and face is when we do perpendicular, okay? So the next one says if the rectangle shown is rotated around a vertical line of symmetry. A vertical line of symmetry would be there. That means my radius would be 7, right? So this would be pi times 7 squared times 6. And when I do that, I get 294 pi. Okay? All right, number 11. The triangular prism and the rectangular prism both have heights of 12 meters and they have the same base areas. Find the height of the triangular base. Find the height of the triangular base. So notice that this is 6 and this is 18. So we're going to do 6 times 18 And when I do that, I get 108. And remember that a triangle is 1/2 base times height, right? So we're going to do 1/2 our base, which is 24, times our height, and that's going to be equal to 108, right? So we could do 1/2 of 24, that would be 12h, right? And that's 108, divide both sides by 12, and so h is equal to 9. Okay? The equation of a circle can be derived by using Pythagorean's theorem. Which statement is true about the derivation? The radius of the circle should be substituted as a leg. No, because the radius is the hypotenuse, right? Diameter is never used. Radius circle should be substituted as a hypotenuse. That's our right answer. Diameter, again, here is never used, okay? So remember, what we use for legs are x minus h and y minus k. And we use our radius, right? So this would be our x squared, a squared. This would be our b squared, right? So this would be equal to a. This would be equal to b. This is equal to c, and c is the hypotenuse, right? So number 13 says, as of 2015, the most densely populated state in the U.S. was New Jersey. The 2015 population of New Jersey was 8,957,907. People with 12.18.1 people per square mile. So this is your per word, right? So that's going to go on the left. 1,218.1 is equal to what? People over miles squared, right? Okay, so what answer do we have there? People, right? So we're going to put our people on top here. So we're going to do 1218.1 is equal to 8,957,907, and that's over our miles squared, right? So remember, these two things can switch places, right? So our miles squared is going to be equal to the 89,57,907 divided by 1218.1. And that's how we got the 7,354 square miles, okay? So the next one says find the length of EC. So by now we've done this a lot, so y'all should definitely have this process down by now. So we're going to go straight down and straight over, right? So we created a right angle. So this is 3, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So we're going to do 3 squared plus 5 squared. So that's going to be 9 plus 25. So that's 34. And remember, we're taking the square root of this, okay? Which graph goes with the equation x plus 4 and y plus 2? So that means my center would be opposite of this. So this would be -4 comma -2. And we would take square root of that for the radius, right? So the radius would be equal to 3, which it looks like all the radiuses are 3. But so what we're looking for is -4, -2, and that's why our answer is D right here, okay? Because the center of the circle is at -2, -4. All right, so number 16 says, find the center and radius of the equation. So we're just pulling it from here, right? Remember, we're doing opposite of what's here, so this would be +6, -8. That's our center. And then what do we do to get our radius? We take the square root of that, so our radius is 6, right? Then it says, find the center and radius of the given equation. So on this one, we're going to put all x's in one parenthesis, all our y's in another, and we're going to move our constant to the other side, right? So this is going to be x squared minus 8x plus blank, y squared plus 10y plus blank, okay? So we're going to take this -8 and divide it by 2. That's going to drop down here in our parentheses. And then we're also going to, that was -4, by the way. We're going to square that, which will give us 16. So we're putting 16 on both sides here, okay? So we're going to keep going, and I'm going to take, again, this 10 and divide it by 2. That gives me 5. So over here, this is going to be y plus 5 squared. Once again, I'm going to take that 5 and I'm going to square it. So that's going to give me 25 here. And I'm going to add that 25 to both sides. Now notice that the -16 and the 16 cancel out. So we are left with 25, right? Okay. So once again, we're going to pull the opposite signs. We're going to change the sign of the h and k that we pull. So this is going to end up being for our center 4 and -5. And we're going to take the square root of the 25 for the radius, so that's going to be 5. Okay. So our last one here says Dr. Albert drew a circle on a grid for his class with a radius of 5 and a point 4, -3 as a center. So we're going to write the equation of this. So this is going to be x minus 4 squared plus y plus 3, because we changed the sign, remember, squared. And it said I had a radius of 5, so we're going to do 5 squared, so that's going to be 25. And it says, which of the following coordinates represents a point on the circle? So what we would do is substitute all of these in. And the only one that works is 7, 1, okay? So 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 squared, okay? And then this is 1 plus 3, so that's going to be 4 squared. So that's actually 9 plus 16, which is 25. And so if 25 equals 25, then the point is on the circle, right? So you had to test all of these to see which one actually worked. So the next thing we're going to do is do the quiz talk, okay? So if you had version A, that's what we're looking at here. If you have version B, this is number 6, number 8, number 7, okay? So it says given line with -6, 2, and 2, 6, and line B with -3, 6, and 3, 4, 9. What is the linear relationship between these lines? Are they parallel, perpendicular? Neither. So on this one, we're going to use the slope formula. So m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to name this x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so that's going to be for our slope of A, line A. It's going to be 6 minus 2 over 2 minus a minus 6, so that's going to be a plus, right? So that's going to be 4 over 8, which is 1/2. Now let's find our B. Okay, so with B, again, I'm going to do x1, y1, x2, y2. So that's going to be equal to 9 minus 6. And 3 minus a minus 3 again, so that's going to end up being a plus. So 9 minus 6 is 3, and this is 6, so that's again 1/2. So because both lines have a slope of 1/2, it means the lines are parallel. Number 2 says if a square prism has a height of 5 inches and a base of 3 inches, what's the volume of the square pyramid with the same height and base length? Here's your key phrase, guys. Same height and base length. So basically, whether we have a square prism or a square pyramid, it's going to be a similar relationship, right? So if it's a prism, and it's asking us if a square prism has a height of 3 and a base length of, a height of 3. So a square pyramid is what? Length times width times height, right? And the pyramid is length times width times height divided by 3, right? So it says a square pyramid prism, so it's got a height of 5, but it's got a base length of 3. So this is going to be 3 times 3 times 5, but we're going to divide it by 3, right? So that's going to cancel out one of those 3's. So that's why the volume is 15, guys, okay? So this one says how much water is in the cube if a ball with a radius of 8 yards is in the cube. So what we're going to do here is find the volume of the cube. So to do that, you're going to do 16 cubed. 16 cubed is 4,096. Okay, then we're going to find the volume of the sphere. The volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi, and we got it 8 is our radius, right? So we're going to do 8 cubed. So 8 cubed times 4 divided by 3, and then we're going to multiply that by pi, because otherwise we can't do the dimensions. So this is 2,145. So we're going to subtract that, right? We're going to subtract it right there, and that's how we got 1951, okay? Because we subtracted the volume of the sphere from the volume of the cube. All right, this next one says given the diameter is 6 centimeters, that means what? We got to divide this by 2, so our radius is 3. It says, and the central angle of the unshaded region is 225 degrees. What is the area of the shaded region? Okay, so we're going to do 360 minus 225 here. So that means this part right here is 135 degrees. So when we do this one, it's going to be pi times 3 squared. This formula's on the formula sheet, y'all. Times 135, all divided by 360. And notice there is no pi in the answers, so we're going to multiply this one by pi, okay? The next one says, what is the equation of the line perpendicular to line AB and passing through point C? Okay, so what we want to do first is find the slope of AB. So I notice I go down 2, right, and over 1. So the slope of AB is equal to negative 2 over 1, so that is negative 2, right? So what is the perpendicular slope to negative 2? That's what we need to ask ourselves. So we know that one's negative, so the other one has to be positive, right? And what is the reciprocal of 2? Isn't it 1/2? So that's the slope we're actually going to use, guys. I need to check this one too. I don't know if that's the right answer or not, y'all. I need to go back and check it because it doesn't look like it's the right answer because that slope is negative 2. So it says, what is the equation of the line perpendicular to AB passing through point C? And point C is 4, 4, right? Okay, let me double check this one in a minute because I don't think the answer is B. So we'll see what it is. I must have just marked the wrong answer when I did this. Okay, so let's go ahead and put 4 and 4 in. So this would be our x and this would be our y. So we're going to put it in y equals mx plus b. So that means it's going to be 4 is equal to 1/2 times 4 plus b. So half of 4 is 2, right? So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides here. So b is equal to 2. So our equation, remember, we're going to plug back in y is equal to our 1/2 x plus 2. So the answer should have been C, okay? And I'm going to double check that one in a minute. So number 6 says the equation of a circle can be derived by using Pythagorean's theorem. So once again, the center of the circle should be substituted as the hypotenuse of a right triangle. That's only a point. The radius of the circle should be substituted as the hypotenuse of a right triangle. That's our answer. A point on the circle should be substituted as a leg of a right triangle. It's only a point again. The radius of the circle should be substituted as the leg of the right triangle. So no, it's the hypotenuse, okay? So we talked about this a lot in class. So number 7 says, which of the following points is on the circle with a radius of 6 and a center of negative 3, 1? So here again, we're going to write the equation of the circle, x plus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 6 squared, which is 36. So we're going to plug these points in here, and the one that works is negative 9, 1 again, and that would be because this is 6 squared and this is 0, right? And so that is equal to 36. Number 8 says a cylinder has a volume of 160 pi centimeters cubed and a height of 10 centimeters. What's its diameter? Diameter, right? Pay attention to that. So this is going to be volume is equal to pi r squared h. So this is going to be 160 pi is equal to pi r squared, and our height is 10, right? So the pi cancels out on both sides. We're going to divide both sides by 10. So that's going to give us 16 is equal to r squared. So we're going to take square root of both sides. So r is equal to 4, but that's not what it asked us for, right? So we're going to go 2 times 4 to get our diameter, right? So that's why it's 8. Number 9 says which pair of points represents a line parallel to the line shown in the graph. So we're going to find the slope here. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So 3 over 1 is equal to 3. So let's go ahead and try this with our slope formula. So this is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So I'm going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. So when I do this, it's going to be 8 minus 2, and then this is going to be minus 2 minus a minus 4, so that's going to be 6. And remember, if we subtract a negative, it's really a positive, right? So that's going to be over 2. So it's going to actually be 4 minus 2, right? So that is our 3 right there, okay? Number 10 says find the radius given the equation. So this is one of those completing the squares. So we're going to create our parentheses here. We're going to put our x's in one set of parentheses, our y's in the other, and we're going to move this constant to the other side. So we're going to have x squared here plus 6x plus blank. We're going to do our y squared minus 8y plus blank. We're going to divide our middle term. 6 divided by 2 equals 3, so that's going to go x plus 3 here, squared. Then we're going to square that term. That's going to give us 9, and we're going to add 9 to both sides, okay? So we're going to do the same thing over on the other side, okay? So we're going to take our negative 8 and divide by 2. That's going to give us negative 4. So that's going to be y minus 4 squared. Then we're going to square that term. That's going to give us 16, and we're going to add 16 to both sides. Okay, so we're going to add all three of these numbers. So 9 plus 11 is 20. 20 plus 16 is 36, right? So then it's asking us find the radius. So to find the radius, all we have to do is take the square root of 36, and that would give us 6.